As promised, we are pleased to be joined by graduate midfielder on the SU men's lacrosse team, Jake Stevens, our guest on the show. Jake, great to have you on. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
We're doing well. So I guess let's start with Saturday, and we'll kind of go from there. Tale of two halves, right? I mean, Notre Dame got off to a fast start. They're up 10-5 at halftime, and you guys put a scare in them down the stretch. They ended up hanging on to win. But I guess take us through, what was the difference in that game, especially early on, that allowed Notre Dame to build that lead?
I mean, first and foremost, they're just a really good team. Face-offs kind of got us, got in a little hole, 2 violations early, so it's kind of hard to battle back from that. And, like I said, just a good team. And, we didn't start well on offense, had a hard time finding it, but, down the stretch, finding a way to, stay in it and battle. And, says a lot about the team and the guys. So, yeah, just didn't go our way on Saturday, but, you learn from losses, so.
Well, and that's where I'm going next. I wanted to ask you about the fight that you showed in that second half. And I know you never like to lose any games, but do you take some positives away from especially that second half where you're down 5 and things can go one of 2 ways, right? The number 1 team in the country can pull away and win in lopsided fashion, or you can fight back. And you guys chose the latter, and you fought back, and you made it interesting, and you made them sweat it out there at the end. Can you take some positives, Jake, from that performance in the second half as you move forward here?
Yeah, of course you can. I mean, you have to. You can't. I mean, you're looking at losses. You can't just look at all the bad. You got to see what you did well. And, like you said, that could have went in a completely different direction and been a, somewhat of a blowout loss. But the guys found a way. We found a way to, put the ball in the back of the net. The D got it done, made some big stops for us to give us a shot. And, just it's important knowing that going into this part of the season, as we get a little bit closer to the tournament and trying to, cement our spot in the tournament, just knowing you can win those games, you're never really out of it. And you have the guys who can make plays and, keep you in games, which is really important as you get into these games. So, yeah, definitely.
You bring up the defense, and you bring up Will Markey at 15 saves. Again, second time this season he's had at least 15 saves. And I know he's not doing it alone. Just that unit in general, Jake, prior to the Notre Dame game, you guys were on a 3-game stretch where the defense had allowed a combined total of 17 goals, and 2 of those were against ranked opponents. Can you speak to the way the defense is playing and how much that helps you guys on the other side of the field, knowing that, all right, if you guys are struggling for whatever reason offensively, your defense is going to keep you in it?
Yeah, I know. It's it's awesome. I think that's a group that's, starting. I mean, Coach O is awesome, and, I don't get to spend a lot of time down there, but he, I think, has them playing in a way where they can make their own decisions, and, and I think they're just starting to come together as a group and playing for each other, and, just making plays all around. And I think, it's showing on game day, like you said, with just how well they're doing, period. And, it's been awesome to see. And obviously when your defense is making stops, it's, pretty easy to rally behind them on the offensive side of the ball and, try and put the ball in the back of the net for them. So, yeah, definitely.
Jake, can you speak to your, I guess, personal journey to get here and, the time you spent at Princeton, you came here. Has it lived up to your expectations here of what you thought it would be like playing at Syracuse?
It's been everything I thought it would, and probably a little bit more. You always hear about how much fun it is and how crazy the Dome is, and it's I can definitely say it is. It's everything that everyone said it was, probably a little bit more. And the guys are awesome. I think just playing at Syracuse, where lacrosse is, I mean, it's just been awesome. I think everything across the board, the guys I've gotten to meet and play with, and I couldn't be happier with how it's all planned out. And, I had a great experience at Princeton, for 4 or 5 years, I guess, if you want to say that. But, it's been really cool to kind of just get a little bit of a different experience. And, I've loved every second of it.
So why Syracuse for you? Was it Gary Gait? Was it, what lured you here after your time at Princeton?
It's a few things. Alex Simmons, who's on the team last year, is one of my good friends, went to Culver together. He spoke very highly of it, had a great experience with everybody, so that made it easy. Coach March coached me for 1 year at at Princeton my freshman year. Wasn't playing so much that year. I got to play a little bit at the end of the year, but there's just a lot of familiarity there. Like, I knew kind of what I was getting myself into. I knew it would be a good fit for me as a player. And so that just made it easy. Being close to home, my brother plays at Hobart, so that just, for my family, don't have to travel as far to see me play, and everything about it just made complete sense. So there really wasn't much discussion. I kind of always knew that if I had the opportunity to use my fifth year here, I was going to use it here. So, yeah.
Well, and Syracuse lucky to have you. 10 goals, 9 assists already this season. What has it been like playing for Coach Gate? One of the true legends of the game, right?
It's definitely it's very cool. I think he just, from an individual level, like the little nuances of like skill that he kind of coaches into, that I've been able to learn and coaches into the guys, just like how to shoot the ball, where to release it, the gaps to step into on offense, just making things a little bit easier, and things that you may not think about on a daily basis. I think he's been excellent at coaching the guys up, and I've definitely learned a lot. So it's been great.
One of the things that we have heard is that just the camaraderie with this year's team in particular is very tight, and the chemistry is better. And I know you've only been here a short time, and you can't speak to the last couple of years, but you can speak to what you've got currently. Can you talk a little bit about how close this team seems to be, and just I guess what has changed from last year to this year? Again, I know you weren't here last year, but from what you understand, why are things so much better this year with this group?
I think, everybody loves to talk about culture, and I think culture is very important when you want to build teams that are successful and win big games and like can make runs. And I think, Coach Gate has in the fall was having a sports psychologist come in who basically solely talked about culture, and I think we've just kind of like having those conversations with guys, with the whole team, and like building out what we want our team to look like as we go through the season has been, I think, has shown the biggest difference in like how close the team's gotten. And then offensively, I think there's a lot of young guys on that team, guys who were freshmen last year, kind of just finding their way of figuring out the taking the next step. As they're sophomores now, they're starting to come together and figure out what guys like and what works for them and what works for other guys. So yeah, it's been cool to say. Definitely one of the closest teams I've ever been on. Yeah, it's been cool.
All right, not much time to dwell on the Notre Dame loss, right? Because you turn right back around. You play tomorrow on the road against a hungry Cornell team that's coming off an overtime loss themselves. What do you know about the Big Red? And it's obviously a big rivalry. You'll get your first taste of it tomorrow night. But what do you know about Cornell at this point?
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously at Princeton, I played Cornell every year. Sure. I've never beaten Cornell. So I mean, they're a really good team. CJ Kirst is one of the best attackmen in the country, and they got a really good supporting cast around him. Defensively, I know they lost a little bit. Their goalie going to Hopkins, Gavin Adler, obviously leaving to play in the PLL. But, just a good team that you can't overlook. They've won some really big games this year. And yeah, short turnaround for everybody. So, you can look at that how you want. But, just kind of like, I think for us, it's more about focusing ourselves because we don't have the time to necessarily prepare for every single nuance that Cornell does. But, I'm excited. Hopefully get my first win on that field and against Cornell. So.
All right, Jake, last question for you. What does this thing come down to tomorrow night, in your opinion?
I think for us, it's just about, playing our game and, making the easy plays. I mean, they got, shutting CJ down and kind of like, limiting his impact on the game. And I think it really, like I said, not a lot of time to kind of prepare. So I think you just got to know what we do well and come in with a game plan that suits us. And, I think we just got to hit shots. I think it's supposed to rain, and so that makes for fun games. And I just hopefully we can pull this one out and leave Ithaca with a W. So
All right, 7 o'clock face-off tomorrow night at Sholkoff Field in Ithaca. Jake, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Continued success to you. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you coming on. Jake Stevens joining us here on the show. And with that, we'll hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll switch gears. We'll go back to college basketball. We've got Gary Hahn, the voice of the NC State Wolfpack. He will join us next on ESPN Radio.